What's going on, Shiny Crew? I'm the TheSilverSlasher, and in case you somehow missed it, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have been announced as they put it, an alternate version of Sun and Moon. This has led a lot of people, including myself, to ask if this is more like Platinum is to Diamond and Pearl, or more like Black and White 2 is to Black and White. Or maybe something completely different. This video is going to start off with some stuff that I think is pretty much confirmed at this point, and then we'll get through the facts and go on with some more kind of speculation-y things. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's start off with something they directly said themselves in the direct. This game will feature Pokemon not found in Pokemon Sun and Moon. This has led a lot of people to believe that there will be like a second half of Generation 7, and we'll get another batch of new Pokemon maybe similar in size to Sun and Moon, that will also be part of Gen 7, but only available in games starting with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I would definitely love this to be the case because I feel like Gen 7 was definitely lacking, but as much as I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, it's entirely possible that that does not confirm that at all. Pokemon that didn't appear in Sun and Moon, well, means any Pokemon that you couldn't find in Sun and Moon. I don't know if this is true, but if Burmy was not found in Sun and Moon, that could be what he's talking about as Pokemon that were not originally found in Sun and Moon. Like I said, I'm definitely hoping that that means we'll get new Pokemon and new Alola forms and stuff like that, but I'm just saying don't get your hopes too high just yet. Now let's move on to the trailer, and first up there are some slight details to cover in the room, such as the obvious character design change, the room color change, the lack of the Pikachu plush, and the fact that our protagonist owns a Switch instead of a Wii U. Now we see our boy walking away from the starting house, which is now much more vibrant in blue instead of that boring silver. There are also more flowers hanging outside, a car in the garage, and even a surfboard leaning up against the house. Maybe this means the mom character will have a little more development and like to surf or something? Or maybe you own a surfing Pikachu instead of a Meowth. That part's kinda up to debate. After that, our young friend walks up the first route, which now has some flowers on the side, and a dude with an Alolan Meowth instead of the boy with a Rockruff from before. Can I just say that these flowers add so much to the game? Like, seriously, you don't think about how bland Sun and Moon look until you see this. Also, we see the corner of the Pokemon Center, and I can't tell if this part is a wall, or if the design of the centers have changed. Either of those options would be pretty weird, though. I kinda hope it's a wall, because that means they're probably hiding something behind it. Then we run up to the starter Pokemon, and this may not seem like an important one to you guys, but there is something to mention here. Yes, they are the same starters, but we never saw them like this in the originals. The first time we saw them was when Hala threw them out on the big wooden structure in the middle of town. Now this could be just them getting rid of the Pokemon selecting you cutscene since people complained about how long it was, or maybe it's that this entire opening part has changed. One thing you'll notice is we don't see the mother, Kukui, Hau, Lily, or Hala in this trailer. Unless this is Kukui right here. I can't tell. This all could just be a coincidence, but maybe it's something more. This scene, as well as this one we see in the other little trailer thing, seems most likely to be on the upper part of Route 5, given that we see these holes everywhere. It is worth mentioning, though, that if that's the case, there is usually not a waterfall here. So we could have some serious changes to Alola's layout. I wouldn't really expect a waterfall to be near a volcano. Why there are so many adorable little Sleepachus everywhere, I have no idea. One thing I do know, though, is that this is a trial guide. What would a trial guide be doing with all these Pikachus? Could we possibly have an Alolan Raichu trial this time? To be honest, I'm pretty sure we will. We have more on this in the next scene, with an angry Togedemaru that is just too high of quality to be anything other than a totem cutscene. Yes, I think we will have different totem Pokemon and trials than last time. The next scene is a bit of a toss-up though, as we see under Mimikyu's cloth. As we all know, this is supposed to cause like a curse or something, so it's interesting that they would try this. As far as the scene goes, however, I really couldn't tell you if this is a totem Pokemon or Z-move animation. Both really make sense, but the way the background is set up, allowing us to see a layer of trees and then kind of a layer of grass in front of it, I'm putting my bets on Z-move. Then we have Lycanroc, which, yeah, is just too high quality to be anything other than a totem animation. I assume they did this so in one version you can fight the day form, and in one version you can fight the night form. It's something I honestly expected from the last game. Either way, it's really nice to see that we might have some different trials this time around. Lastly, we have, of course, Solgaleo and Lunala with their Necrozma armor on. There are so many things that this could be, and honestly, it's unlikely to be something we know about until we reach that point in the game's plot. It's also worth mentioning that whatever this Ultra Evolve or maybe Fusion is, it seems to be accomplished by turning the crystal in your Z-ring 90 degrees. Also, the ring is now black with white highlights. I don't know if that's just a stylistic thing, or maybe it has something to do with Necrozma. That being said, this is where some serious speculation starts. A lot of people have been seeing this and saying, wow, Black and White 2 all over again, they're seriously just rehashing ideas. But hold that mood for a second, and remember from Sun and Moon that Colress was in the region. You know, Colress. the man who worked alongside Team Plasma as they were trying to make the DNA splicers. In the game, he's pretty adamant that he's not specifically a part of Team Plasma. His only goal is to discover the true way to draw out the strength of Pokémon. Maybe his defeat in Unova wasn't enough, and he's decided to try the fusion approach again with our Alola legendaries. This is where something big comes into play though. The Multiverse. If you missed it in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, we now know that the reason those games were different than Ruby and Sapphire is that they are two parallel universes which played out almost the same but just a little bit different. It's incredibly likely that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are happening at the same point in time as Sun and Moon, just in a different timeline. And it's also entirely possible that in this timeline, Team Plasma never even existed, and this is this timeline's Colress's first attempt at the idea. It's a mess for sure, but god, the multiverse makes everything so much more interesting. In essence, it's a little strange that they're calling these Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. They've never really added a title like that to a game before. Every time there's a title before the actual game title, it's something like Soul Silver, Heart Gold, you know, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. But calling it Ultra just makes it sound like Better Sun and Better Moon. Or if you want to be more specific and get my opinion a little bit on it, Finished Sun and Finished Moon. This leads me to a little bit of speculation in which I actually don't think trials were intended to replace gyms in the original game. I think they were actually supposed to be something alongside. This could explain why there were only 7 of them in the original Sun and Moon, and why the pacing was a little weird and why the games were honestly a little bit short. I'm sure you remember at least one of them, but across the island there are plenty of open plots of land that have nothing on them. 8 of them, to be exact. And if you somehow don't know, every single Pokemon game with gyms has had 8. So yes, I actually think in this game, we will be seeing the return of gyms alongside new trials. Will these new trials replace the old ones? That is something that we can't really prove true or false at this point. But if we get a new game with 8 gyms and then possibly 10 or more total trials, this could be a serious improvement over Sun and Moon. As our last little comment for this video, don't you think Ryuki is a really weird character? If you don't know who this guy is, returning to the Pokemon League and trying to defend your title in Sun and Moon, you have a 1 out of 10 chance of encountering this man, Ryuki. Basically all we know about him is that he's a musician, he's from another region, he calls himself a star, and he uses dragon types. It's pretty weird that they'd come up with this special character, especially with his own custom 3D model, and then basically do nothing with him. A type-themed trainer that has basically nothing to do with the game. Perhaps this ties into the fact that gyms were originally supposed to be a thing, and maybe we'll see him as a gym leader of the dragon type in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It is also possible that maybe there's a dragon type trial in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but as with the rest of this video, there's really nothing to say with 100% certainty. Regardless, I think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are going to be extremely different from Sun and Moon. Like, this ain't no Platinum or Emerald, my boys. I think we're basically getting brand new games. Regardless of what we get, we've got some time to wait before finding out, so if you want to stay up to date on all Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon news while listening to this voice, then be sure to join the shiny crew by slashing that subscribe button. I think that's it for this video though. This has been the Silver Slasher Wade Silver, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.